Yes, people. Now, bringing you a bit of prison justice at its finest. And this is coming from Northern Ireland. I have had an email with a bit of information about this one, so I will tell you a little bit about the headline about when this thug got prison justice, got sentenced rather, talking about the leading up to the prison justice. So, the headline of his case when I looked into it was thug Christopher Fulton jailed for brutal cruelty against his 4-week-old. Now, I won't say exactly what the little one is because when I say them words, it'll flag up. And unfortunately, will not be played. So, I need to be careful with the words. But this one, or this absolute wrongin', battered his 4-week-old little one. But this was in 2019 and he's only just been sentenced for this in April. This came about in April 2025 of this year. So I've been looking at it and I'm thinking I can't understand why it's took 6 years to get to court and he's just been sentenced. But the sentence that he received was actually a 22-year jail sentence, but it was an extended sentence. And it says, a thug and a bully who battered, shook, and almost squeezed the life out of the little one was handed a 22-year jail sentence. But it also said up until now, this was in April when I'm speaking about this article, up until now, it could only be reported that Christopher Fulton had assaulted the little one. But on application by the media, Judge Peter Irvine, KC, varied the reporting restriction, allowing it to be stated clearly how the 6'3", 16-stone man left a 4-week-old bruised, blind and brain damaged. What an absolute wrong'un. Bacon. And he is inside HMP Magbury in Northern Ireland. In Northern Ireland, HMP Magbury holds nearly 1,000 prisoners, and there is a lot of dangerous, violent individuals inside of there. But since he's went to prison, and these articles have come out in the media, you can quite imagine what the inmates want to do to him when they get their hands on him. So he has, and rightly so, been getting bullied and intimidated by the other cons. And he is on the VP wing, the bacon wings. I'm not sure exactly what they call it up in Northern Ireland, but I have got a few subscribers from Northern Ireland, so please let us know in the comment section if you also call them bacons over there. Bacons, wrong'uns. And it says, jailing the 35-year-old at an emotionally charged Newry Crown Court, Judge Irvine told him, I find you to be dangerous in relation to young children. So in addition to the 22-year jail sentence for inflicting GBH with intent, he ordered that Mr. Fulton will be subject to an extended licence period of 5 years. Now this is what I find quite difficult to understand about this case, because he's said he's so dangerous, which he so clearly is, doing this to that poor, defenceless little one. But it was in 2019, and when one of the other articles, him and his missus are outside of court, waiting for to go. Obviously, it must have been a trial, and he was found guilty. So why was he not remanded straight into custody? Unless there's been an ongoing investigation and he'd not long ago been charged. But if you're being charged with this, surely it should have been straight remand, waiting to go up for sentencing. But like I've said, he's on the VP wings, and I've heard from a source who's been in touch that he cries himself to sleep. 2 seconds, I'll say. He cries himself to sleep. He's getting bullied. He's getting intimidated. He's getting beaten up on a daily basis. And apparently, even the bacons don't like him. So I'll tell you exactly what happened. So it says the court heard how the little one was unresponsive on the morning of the 7th of November 2019 at Fulton's house at Rockfield Gardens just outside Ballymoney. But despite their concerns, neither defendant called the doctor for 3 hours. When the little one was eventually seen by a GP, it was obvious to him that he was very sick. Initially, he was rushed in an ambulance to the Causeway Hospital where scan uncovered a significant head injury, and he was then taken to the Royal Belfast Hospital for sick children where he endured life-saving brain surgery. It was there that doctors discovered the true extent of his life-threatening injuries, and this is what that big 6'3", 16-stone man has done to that little one. I mean, I'm 6'4", 18 stone, so he's not far off my size. With a little one like that, what he must have been doing to that little one. Fractured skull with associated bleeding in the brain, 27 rib fractures, fractures to both thigh bones, fractures to both shin bones, fractured wrist, and a lacerated liver. One paediatric consultant after another testified how the injuries were consistent with those which might be expected in a high-speed car crash or being dropped from several stories high. How absolutely horrific is that? But a lot of you will be pleased, like myself, that he cries himself to sleep on a night time because of the other lags, or totally, be careful what I say on here and how I speak about it, because I've got to be professional, like I've mentioned in previous videos. Some videos, when I've spoke my mind, get flagged up, and again, they will not be shown. So I've got to be careful. But as you can imagine, you know exactly what I think about these type of offenders. How can somebody so big do that to a defenseless little one? Come on, 4 weeks must be absolutely tiny. He must have been pummeling that poor little one. And now he's in prison, suffering at the hands of the other lags. And like I said, he's on the VP wings, and he's been battered a few times. Obviously, he will be getting more throughout his sentence, because that's what happens to these type of offenders. And like I said from the source, somebody who works over there has said that even the Bacons, the ones that have done horrible things to little ones, don't like him either, which you can find quite staggering, how someone who's already done stuff like that. But again, it'll be the ones that are in for doing things, doing the rapes to women or men either. These type of offenders, when they're on the VP wings as well, bit of a hierarchy, believe it or not, amongst the Bacons. Back bacon, smoked bacon, if you get me drift. Shouldn't be laughing about these matters because it is serious, but there's a hierarchy on the VP wings, believe it or not. There's the ones that are in for doing things to adults, then the ones that are in for doing things to little ones. The ones that are in for doing things to either the partners or people on nights out or whatever who end up on the bacon wings don't look at themselves as bad as the ones that have done stuff to little ones or even ended the lives of little ones. So these are the ones that are torturing the likes of this beast, this bad wronging. So you'll be pleased to know that he's getting prison justice inside a prison. He's been beat up on a few occasions. As far as I know, there hasn't been anything too serious. But I was asked to do this video because, like I've just said, people will be thinking that these type of wrongings have an easy time inside a prison. But guess what? They're not. They're getting tortured. And I will be bringing you these stories on this channel to keep you all updated. Now, somebody else had sent me one, and I will do a separate video, but there's somebody else in England, another man who has done something similar to this, but it was actually inside of an intensive care ward in a hospital, intensive unit, sorry. And he done the same thing to his premature little one. Beggars belief what goes through the minds of these sickos. When you have a little one, I've got four myself. When you have a little one, it's the most joyous time of your life. You want to do everything you can to protect them. You will do everything you can. It's what you're meant to do as a parent, human nature. But obviously, this freako, this horrible, despicable person, didn't. But I am going to actually tell you as well, because his girlfriend, I don't believe it's his wife, his girlfriend was also sentenced for allowing this to happen. 2 seconds. Judge Irvin told Mrs. Fulton, so they must have been married, knowing that your husband was quite capable of causing physical harm, knowing that he was seriously ill, you neglected well-being, and you did not attempt to obtain medical treatment. Your dereliction of duty and care to pay was unforgivable. My 2 seconds, I should have really had a look at the whole thing, but she was sentenced for that as well. Obviously not as much as what he got, but again, she should have gotten the same as him. She's the mother who's supposed to care even more for that little one than what the father does. And she's allowed that. So she also is suffering inside a prison just what she deserves. Horrible, despicable people. I'll leave that one there for now, people. Plenty of more coming up. And if there is any stories from inside the prisons about the Bacons getting prison justice, let us know either in the comment section or email or send us a message on social media. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your weekend ahead and stay safe.